Hey y'all, this is Pastor Brian, and I'm one of the pastors of Williamsburg United Methodist Church, and this is another one of our midweek videos, taking time during the week to think about faith, life, maybe something that's going on in the world. Today, I want to pause and think about the sermon series that we've had in September. During the month of September, we have been in the middle of a sermon series that we've called Kingdom Stories, Unexpected Turns of Grace. And the sermons each week have been reflecting on one of the parables of Jesus from the Gospel according to Luke, around the 16th, 17th, 18th chapter. And one of the things that binds those parables together is that Jesus tells us something about who God is, about what our lives are meant to be, and it's a little bit upside down. It's a little bit surprising. And part of what we've been trying to get at in this sermon series is that God's love, God's grace, God's mercy is so good that when we take it seriously, it tends to surprise us. Sometimes it can even overwhelm us with the beauty of what God is doing in our lives and in our world. We talk about how God's love is like a shepherd who looks for the one lost sheep. We talked about how God's love shows up as a tiny mustard seed and can grow into something spectacular. We've talked about God's way of being in the world being like a manager who is a little crafty, maybe even shrewd, and we're invited to be the same. This Sunday, we're going to talk about a rich man and a poor man and how God's love surprises us and also bridges the divides between us. The thing about what it means to encounter our God in the world is that our God is the one who shows up in the most surprising ways. God has chosen to show up among us as Jesus Christ, Jesus who suffered, Jesus who lived in poverty, Jesus who was friends with sinners and the outcast, Jesus who ate at tables with the excluded, who was born in a barn, we might say. God shows up in these surprising ways. And so what that means for us, if you get nothing else out of this sermon series, I hope that you'll pay attention for the surprising ways God is showing up in your life. How is God inviting you to do the least expected thing? How is God speaking to you through the least expected person? What is the place in your life that you never thought God might be calling you to go, where God is saying, show up there, please, and be an agent of my love. Be a person who works and shares my grace. Because the thing about the God who calls us in Jesus Christ is that our world is not exactly as God is calling it to be. God has created us in love, and we turn away and we cause all sorts of harm to us and to ourselves and to each other. And God is saying, I am working for good. I am changing things. I am making things new. And so you are invited to join me in that. You are invited to get your hands dirty. You are invited to find those places where hope is blooming unexpectedly. So this week, this month, the rest of this year, as you think about the ways we've been talking about God's surprising grace, may you be someone who is on the lookout for hope, for joy, for love, for God's peace and presence in your life, even when it's least expected, perhaps even precisely where it's least expected. God plans to surprise you with grace. God plans to surprise all of us with grace. May you go forth and embrace the grace that surprises the world and share surprising grace with those who need it. Peace. You are loved.